So, you're in the market for a motorcycle, and you keep seeing these cool vintage bikes lying around. And you're like, man, I want one of those. And most people do, because they look cool. But be forewarned, if you are not interested in breakdowns, if you are not interested in long nights in the garage, if you are not interested in constantly messing with it, you might want to find a different bike. If this is your first bike, I can't recommend a vintage bike or a custom bike, because making sure it's reliable is the most important thing when you're learning how to ride. But if you do want maybe a mint condition Yamaha Enduro or a cafe'd out Honda, and it's not your first bike and you're kind of handy, this can be a fun thing to do. But every project is a little different, so make sure you know what you're getting into before you buy. Let's talk about some of the tools and things you need to work on your custom bike. Let's go. Now, for one of my favorite topics, tools. I could talk about this for weeks on end, so I'll try and keep it short. The basic tools you're going to want as a DIYer are pretty simple. You'll want some sockets, you'll want some ratchets, some extensions, hex keys, of course, and wrenches, naturally. A varied selection of wrenches. You can see I've got two styles of wrench. We've got imperial and we've got metric. Now, depending on what bike you get, you're going to need metric or imperial. Basically anything other than Harley-Davidson, metric, Harley-Davidson, both, because Harley-Davidson is weird about things like that. Screwdrivers. A lot of people think a screwdriver is a screwdriver, but you tell me if this Phillips head is the same as that Phillips head. Good? Focus? We happy? These are very different. This is a number 3. This is a number 0. A lot of vintage bikes use number 3 Phillips heads on the engine. So getting the correct fitting Phillips head is important to getting the job done right. As well, you'll want good safety gear if you're going to be doing custom stuff. Some good gloves, hearing and eye protection. Shop rags and latex gloves go a long way too. I like toolboxes with a work surface, so you don't need a bench. And I also like a good vise. These are all things that really make jobs that can be difficult pretty easy. The last question to answer about your DIY setup is how you're going to set that bike up to work on it. If you don't have the space to put a full lift in your garage, you can do something very simple like this, which is just a wheel chock, some ratchet straps, and one of these babies that you can pick up, a scissor jack, so you can lift the front or rear tire off the ground to get access to jobs like forks, steering stems, swing arm bearings, chain, all these different fun projects you can be doing in your garage. You may be wondering why we've got these bikes covered up, and that's because Federal has some pretty neat stuff coming down the customs pipeline that you can't quite see yet. Follow us on Instagram at Federal Moto to see more.